Today I'm not going to mess about, we're going to get straight into it. A bit more of an informative video today. I'm going to talk about the bike licensing system in the UK. Who needs what, and based on ages and stuff like that, as to what bike you can ride, and basically all the different licenses explained. Before I get into it, make sure if you do enjoy this video, please make sure to subscribe, like the video, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff. We're only going to talk obviously about geared bikes. Mopeds, we all know once you're 16 you can't go on a geared motorbike until you're 17, but at 16 you can get on a moped and do a CBT for that. One good note actually on mopeds and geared bikes: if you're 16 and you ride a moped and you obviously did a CBT for that to get your moped, once you're 17 you actually don't need to go do the CBT again to be able to go get on a geared bike, which on paper fine, it makes sense, but if you think about it, let's say you've never ever ridden a geared bike before, you've only ever ridden a twist and go moped, you're going to need to do a CBT anyway, just to get that basic knowledge of how to ride a geared bike. So then, getting into it, when you're 17 you can go do your CBT. You all know this don't require a theory or anything like that. They say get a base level knowledge of the highway code and stuff like that, but they don't actually test you on it to the point where if you get the questions wrong they're going to fail you. It wasn't like that where I were anyway. Like, they asked the group a few questions and if you didn't really say anything they didn't really pick on you, so it didn't matter. The CBT normally lasts about a day, and once you've got it you can only ride up to a 125, and on your 125 you have to display L plates, you can't go on motorways, and you can't carry passengers. And also your CBT lasts 2 years, so if you don't go up to the next licence or a full licence within 2 years of your CBT, you have to go renew it. But for those who are 17 or over and have just done the CBT, you can go do what's called your A1 licence, and for your A1 licence you obviously need to pass your theory, your bike theory that is, and your A1 licence is split into mod 1, which is off-road, and mod 2, which is on-road. Once you've passed both these tests you've got your A1. But on your A1 you can still only ride up to a 125, however you can go on motorways, you can carry passengers, and you don't have to display them lovely L plates. And also with this you obviously don't need to go renew your CBT. So although a lot of people call it a pointless licence, there is quite a few pros to it. The next licence after the A1 is, you guessed it, the A2, and you can do this when you're 19. This also requires a theory, but if you did your theory for the A1 test for example, or the A1 licence, you don't have to do the theory again. The only time you need to resit your theory is when, let's say you're on a CBT and you've got plans of doing your A1, so you go and do your theory, and within 2 years if you don't go and get your A1 for example, you have to go resit it because your theory lasts 2 years. But obviously if you get your next licence, you're sound, you don't have to do your theory ever again. So just to cover again, you need your theory, and this is also the exact same as the A1, split into mod 1 off-road and mod 2 on-road. And once you've done both your mods you've got your A2, and this is where it gets a little bit more exciting, because on your A2 you can ride up to a bike that has no more than 47 brake horse. So you can go from riding a 125 like I am, and you can maybe go to a 390 Duke or a restricted 790 Duke, or some good A2 bikes are like Kawasaki Ninja 500s, a restricted Kawasaki Ninja 650. Have a little Google at what the best A2 bikes are, because there is quite a few that are very nice bikes. And the A2 licence, many riders just stick on this forever. They don't bother going to do what's known as the DAS, the direct access scheme, which is classed as your full A licence, because for what it's worth and the money it costs to get your A licence, to obviously be able to ride whatever you want, but really a 600 is all you need. You've got the speed, you've got the power, so that's why a lot of people do just stick on an A2. Your full A licence then, your direct access scheme, also known as the DAS. There's 2 entry requirements into getting this licence. You can either be 24 or you can have held the A2 licence for 2 years. So you can be 24 fresh off a CBT, as daft as that sounds, or you can be a 21-year-old who's had their A2 since they turned 19. And obviously for this licence you need your theory as well. But as mentioned previously, if you've picked up your theory from doing another licence like your A1 or your A2, you don't need to resit it. And again, the A licence is split into your mod 1 off-road and your mod 2 on-road. This is why it gets a lot of people talking about, is the licensing system in the UK, is it based on safety or is it purely based on just getting as much money out of the general public as possible? In my opinion, I think there is a good mix. You've got people in the US who are like 17 on 1000 cc's, so, and obviously I mean there's a lot more of them over there, but the fatality rate of young motorcycle riders in the US is much larger than it is over here, and I think a big factor in that is because of the licensing system that we've got. And obviously once you've got your full A licence you can ride whatever you want, and that in a nutshell is basically the licensing system. That's all the different licences you can get. I've probably missed some, I hope I haven't though. I think I've covered a decent amount. This is just a stab in dark, but I think I've read it somewhere, just like a little note about the A1 licence, that you can ride abroad as well. So if you're on an A1 licence, you can take your 125 and go on a ferry and go abroad, which is pretty cool. Like I say, if I did miss anything, just let me know in the comments. And also in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the whole licensing system. Do you think the way they've built it is more just purely for money, or is it for safety? Or do you think it's a good 50-50 split? If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, give the video a like if you have a spare 13 seconds, and I'll catch you in the next one.